Hello, welcome to the Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority Board of Directors meeting. This is the clerk of the board, Caroline Hernandez, and I will be calling the meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. And I will now call roll. Director Kennett.
Here.
Director Flaher.
Here.
Director Chapman is not present.
Still have to unlock your device.
I know. Director Hannibal.
Brand new
Oh
phone.
my gosh, it is.
Turn it off. Excuse me.
Hi.
Then we can chop it in the back. Okay,
Director Hannibal.
here.
Director Alexander, not present. Director Potter.
Here.
Director Gill.
Yeah.
We have a quorum. And now I will, in the absence of our chair, Director Chapman, and in the absence of our vice chair, Director Alexander, I will invite our board members to make someone to make a motion to elect a chair pro tem to run the meeting for tonight.
I elect Mike Potter and I nominate.
Nominate Director Gill.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay, I'll second the nomination.
Okay, Director Annable made a motion to nominate Director Potter, and Director Potter seconded the motion.
Yes.
So let's vote. Director Kennett,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Annable,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Us.
Director Gill.
Yes.
All right, Director Potter will chair tonight's meeting.
Great. Let me get my pencil. Welcome, as the chair pro tem. I don't have a gavel, but I don't need one. I shouldn't need one. We have, would welcome a motion to approve the agenda. All right, it's been a while. We've done roll call. We're going to convene to closed session. All right. I tried to move a different person to chair this meeting. That just
We help you.
rebuttal, but is there anyone would like to comment on anything that's not on the agenda, any public members?
Oh, I'm not yet.
Okay.
We'll do the announcement first for closed session.
Director Potter, we're heading into closed session. There's one item on the agenda, public employment evaluation. It's the details are listed on the agenda, and then just ask if there are any members of the public here to speak on that item.
Are there any members of the public here to speak on the item for closed session?
There are none.
Okay. With that, let's adjourn to closed session. Well, I had too much chocolate, I guess. Returning from closed session, legal counsel, anything to report?
No reportable actions, Mr. Chair.
Terrific, thank you. We will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Before minutes, I will give you public comments.
Public comment on, items that were not on the agenda.
Correct.
Any members of the public wish to ask us questions about things that are not on the agenda or speak? Okay. All right. Thank you. I think now would be the time we could consider our minutes.
Move to approve.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve. Second. Second by Director Flaher. Any public comments on this motion? Great. Call the question.
Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Annabelle,
I'll abstain, I wasn't present.
Director Potter,
Yes.
and Director Gill abstaining.
But I have to because otherwise no pass. We both abstain. Then that,
Doesn't have 4 votes.
then doesn't have to. Then I can just, yeah, definitely.
Voted for it. You're welcome.
Yes, I did that.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
all right. Do we have a total?
The motion passes.
Okay, great. Thank you. And next item is the consent items. Would anyone?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. By Director Annabelle, second by Director Kennett. Any comments from the public on this item?
There are none.
Okay, great. Call the question?
Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Annabelle,
Yes,
Director Potter,
Yes,
Director Gill.
Yes.
that passes unanimous. All right. We're on a roll now. My agenda is not, there it goes. Okay, and now we're on to item 1 of new business. Amendment to the memorandum of understanding between Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority and the sentence that I can, there we go, and the County of Santa Clara for the acquisition of agricultural conservation easements.
All right,
The waiver.
the slides lit up. All right, good evening, directors. I'm Linda Kwong, Deputy Conservation Manager, and tonight I'm presenting the second amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, between the County of Santa Clara and the Authority for the Acquisition of Agricultural Conservation Easements for your approval. So the original MOU was approved and executed in June of 2020 to transfer a one-time allocation of reserve funds from the county to the authority for just under $5 million for purchasing agricultural conservation easements in support of the Santa Clara Valley Ag Plan. The funds could cover up to 50% of the value of an agricultural conservation easement, but the purchase of properties of fee title is also allowed. However, since an ag easement is a portion of the full fee title value, the funds could only be applied for up to 50% of that portion of value. So for example, if an ag easement is worth 40% of the fee title and the county funds would cover 50% of that ag easement, in total, it would only cover 20% of the overall fee title value. So this makes it more challenging for the authority to come up with the match funds to purchase the property in the cases where landowner wants to sell the property to us in fee and are not interested in an agricultural conservation easement. In that current MOU, the funding could also only be used to protect farmland in the areas of Coyote Valley, San Martin Tenant, and the Buena Vista priority sub areas that were identified in the ag plan. The MOU was originally set to expire in June of 2023 and has been amended once to extend the term to June 30th, 2024, which is a few days from now. So far, we've protected 3 farms with the county's funds totaling about 236 acres. These 3 farms include an agricultural conservation easement over the 97-acre Fantoyo Grove property, which we protected in November of 2020, which is located in San Martin, and that's the farm that you see on this slide. In October of 2021, we acquired fee title to the 60-acre property in Coyote Valley on Laguna Avenue that is now leased to B&T Farms and is home to the Spina Farms pumpkin patch that's very popular in the fall, a photo of which you'll see on the last slide. And most recently, we purchased an agricultural conservation easement over the 79-acre U property in March of this year, and that is directly adjacent to the Frantoio Grove property. And that was the picture that was on the title slide. So to date, we've spent almost $2.8 million of the county's funds, with a little over $2.2 million remaining. All of these purchases required the authority to seek other sources of funding to serve as match to these county funds. And the primary source of match funding has been through the state's Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Program, also known as SALC, which funded all 3 of these projects and typically takes about 2 years to work through the grant process to see a project from beginning to end.
I have a question.
Sure.
We have only 60 acres of Laguna Avenue fee titles about the other 2 projects.
The other 2 are agricultural conservation easements, so the landowners still own the property in fee title, and then we hold an easement on those properties. Right. So in the proposed amendment, the county and the authority proposed to extend the term to May 31st of 2025, which is about 11 months from now. And the reason for the shorter duration is partly because the county has a policy that limits their contracts to a maximum of 5 years. And also the county is in the early stages of developing a program to mitigate impacts to agricultural land. And they would like to explore with the authority how the MOU can tie into that. The mitigation program, to be clear, is not part of this amendment, but there may be additional amendments to come as we work through that with the county. The restriction of funding of up to 50% of the ag easement value would be revised to allow for the funds to be applied to 50% of the property interest that's being purchased, whether it be an ag easement or in fee title. And so that provides the authority with more flexibility and simplifies the funding requirements, giving greater opportunity to protect farmland where landowners are interested in selling just fee title to their properties and are not interested in discussing easements. And lastly, the areas that are eligible for funding in the MOU would be expanded to include all of the priority sub areas of the agricultural resource area that was identified in the ag plan. And those are shown here in the dark green. So as farmlands threaten throughout the entire Santa Clara Valley, expanding the eligible geography allows the authority to use these funds in other priority areas where farmland loss is also occurring, and not just limit it to Coyote Valley, San Martin Tenant, and the Buena Vista areas. So the second amendment was approved by the Board of Supervisors earlier this month. And if this amendment is not approved by the authority's board tonight, the remaining funds would have to be returned to the county by the end of July. So with that, staff recommends that the board authorize the execution of the second amendment to the MOU between the County of Santa Clara and the authority for the acquisition of agricultural conservation easements. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions.
Any questions from board members? Dr. Kenneth?
Has this been run by the CAC yet, or did we have time?
We have not.
I'd like to move approval.
I'll do second.
Got a motion and a second. Any members of the public or any of the board questions? Any public comment on this item?
There are none.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Let's call the vote.
Director Kent,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Annabelle. Yes. Director Potter.
I'm going to abstain, as I often do on items involving the County of Santa Clara.
Director Gill.
Yes.
Motion passed.
That passes on a 4-0-1 vote. Thank you. So the next item, number 2. Approve our fiscal year 2024-2025 Citizens Advisory Committee work plan. Lead Mark.
Good evening, directors. I'm Lee Rauscher, Assistant General Manager, and tonight, Mark Landgraf and I would like to present our draft fiscal year 24-25 CAC work plan for your review and hopefully your approval. The work plan has 8 objectives, and those are in your packet. Oops, helps if I go forward instead of backward. That'll make a lot more sense here in a minute. Um, so for objective 1, the goal is to acquire and communicate knowledge of the agency's history, initiatives and opportunities and interactions with the public, and then bring public input back to the committee, staff, and the board. Ways that the committee might be able to achieve this objective would be to complete, say, the new volunteer orientation, which includes learning about the agency's mission, vision, history, goals, volunteer roles, etc. They could attend an interpretive host training, which is led by staff members. They could participate in various outreach opportunities like booth opportunities like we will do at National Night Out coming up here in August. And then, of course, we look for that input to come back through the CAC to staff and to the board. Objective number 2, our goal here is to implement a recruiting strategy informed by CAC member experiences and to fill vacant positions. We currently have 2 openings on the CAC, 1 district representative for District 6 and 1 at-large position. And committee members could help fill these positions by potentially meeting with their district representative, their district director, to identify communities of interest within the district that we might be able to reach out to and connect with better, and then creating maybe a subcommittee to help work on outreach for recruitment. I think you're going to get a presentation here from Caroline next about reappointing some of our CAC members, and maybe she'll speak a little bit about the current recruitment efforts going on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark for the next couple.
Good evening, directors. Mark Landgraf, Assistant General Manager. So the goals here with Objective 3 are in overlap with Objective 1, I would say, to support community engagement efforts. This one is specific to our planning project. So as was the case for, say, joint field trips to Rancho Quinta del Oro for the Llagas Creek Bridge, as is depicted in the photo here, and previously to Mayana Yakima Coyote Ridge Open Space Preserve, the CAC can directly provide inputs to staff and to the board, and also help bring in other community voices for those projects. So there's been quite a bit of positive feedback from the CAC on participating in those projects. Objective 4 is, this is sort of the other projects as assigned by the board. So it has a variety of different types of tasks available to it that you have in your packet. Some examples of this also include just general community engagement, specific to our JEDIA goals. There are a number of ways that the CAC can and has contributed in that way. Also promoting our work on social media, so reposting those social media posts that we put out from our accounts. And then also, a great example here recently is recommendations from CAC members that provide us opportunities to speak at community groups that we otherwise wouldn't have access to. So recently, for instance, Kathy Sutherland connected us with Orchard City Indivisible. A staff member spoke there, and was a very successful event that we weren't just aware of in the previously. So all sorts of different projects and policy assignments from the board for that one. Lee, I'll pass it. Oh, actually, one more. I was trying to get away with just 2 of them. Okay. So also regarding our urban grant program, both engagement with the development of the guidelines, providing feedback to staff and recommendations to the board on those guidelines, and then participating in the grant program itself, both through outreach activities, but also for reviewing and providing input on the capital project grants, similar to what's been done in the past. So that's something also that is very engaging for CAC members, and they provide a lot of feedback for us in those. Lee?
Thanks, Mark. All right, and the last two here, objective number 7, our goal here is to grow the professional development of CAC members. And to that end, the work plan includes some recommendations for some specific trainings in governance, for example, Rosenberg's Rules of Order, CSDA's Keeping Up with the Brown Act and the Sexual Harassment Prevention Training. Those trainings are all free to the members, and also has some general guidance on conservation topics, and then suggesting to take some diversity, equity, and inclusion training as well. And then for objective number 8, evaluate and recommend improvements in CAC governance, kind of an annual review of the handbook. For example, in this last year, the group has been looking at even what hour the meetings start at, and have been piloting a 6:30 start instead of 7. But elements of the handbook like that, they can look at on an annual basis. And I think we'll pause here and take any questions that you may have.
Any board question?
This isn't a question, it's more I'd like to see added to it a couple of tours, like maybe one out to Palazzo, so that the CAC sees that there's work that's to be accomplished, and having their support at this outreach and everything are real critical to making the Doan Ranch one day open, Palazzo one day open. And I think they've already seen Blair with the Tilton Ranch area, but they had a couple of tours to it so that they can get out and see what lies ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, I think that's
2,000 acres.
Through the chair, I think that's an excellent suggestion, and we can work that in. For instance, in objective 3, is emphasize some of those tours in advance of either localized or broader long-range planning efforts.
Thank you. Rick Gill.
It's just a suggestion, so it's my thought anyway. So if CAC can do the meeting in the community instead of here, any meetings like quarterly or something, just pick any kind of community areas, maybe the district, like have the 7 district. Maybe try to pick one district and then go have the meeting there. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion. It's actually something we're looking into, putting together some available community resources for being able to take our show on the road, if you will, and meet out in different areas of the jurisdiction. Work in progress.
And I can,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Lee. And I can add to that as well. Again, excellent suggestion. And as Lee mentioned, we're developing a PowerPoint and talking points that go with that. And it's, our experience has been that it sometimes depends on the CAC member. Some are more comfortable with presentations than others, but certainly for those willing to do those presentations, that's great. And for others who simply want to point us to a presentation that staff can do, or board members, should they choose to, that works too. So we're flexible in how it's executed.
Great suggestion. Any other comments or questions from the board? Any public questions or comments?
There are none.
Okay, sorry. So the last slide was the recommendation is to hopefully approve the fiscal year 24-25 CAC work plan.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Second. All right, the motion is second. All vote.
Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Flaher,
Yes.
Director Annable,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Yes.
Director Gill.
Yes.
Great, that passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, item 3 of new business. We have appointments to the CAC. Many of them existing.
Yes. Hello, directors. Pardon the mask. Out of an abundance of precaution. I'm Caroline Hernandez, the clerk of the board, and tonight presenting a recommendation to approve the appointments of Aaron Gill, Frank Kinsella, Robert Sipple, Justin Fields, Dan Kenny, and Lonnie Wong Bissett as representatives to the CAC for a new two-year term. Two-year appointment, correct. The CAC is comprised currently of 15 members. We have 7 district representatives, 1 corresponding to each director, and 8 at-large representatives to complete 2-year terms that are staggered to provide continuity of service. The Citizens Advisory Committee handbook states that existing members in good standing wishing to serve another 2-year term will let staff know in writing of their desire to be reappointed. And this process was adopted 2 years ago to help streamline the reappointment process for incumbent members who wish to serve again. And so staff notified our CAC members on April 1st, 2024 via email that if they wish to be reappointed, to confirm to the clerk in writing that their desire to be reappointed. And those members were Aaron Gill for District 1, Frank Kinsella for District 2, Robert Sipple for District 3, and Allison Falwell for District 4.
Can I ask one question?
Of course.
Whenever any CAC member is renew their terms, do we have to advertise public if anybody else want to be apply for that, or
We advertise vacancies. So if the seat is vacant, we do have a 45-day vacancy window.
No, I understand that. When is the vacant? I'm talking about when is it reappointed.
We used to, prior to this most recent CAC handbook update, the members, yes, the members who were expiring would have to refill out a new application, and the positions were posted. But the members felt that there was, if they were in good standing and they had a desire to continue on, that it should be much easier for them to request another 2-year term.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just ask for update myself.
Yes, of course. And for our at-large representatives, we have Justin Fields, Daniel Kinney, and Lonnie Wong Bissett. And speaking of vacancies, we have 2, 1 district position and 1 at-large position. And as Lee mentioned, we have been doing recruitment for those. In addition to posting on the website and posting at our preserves, a media advisory went out and was picked up by the San Jose Mercury News, and a small article went out advertising the vacancies for our CAC, as well as our expenditure plan oversight committee, which is pretty exciting. It's something we haven't done before, so we're looking forward to seeing what that generates. And in addition to that, we've sent out a questionnaire, 5 questions that were formulated by a combination of myself and communication staff. And that was sent out to our committee members to request information about their relationship to nature and relationship to the authority, and send us some pictures in nature. And that content is going to be used to create social media posts to help also kind of advertise these as volunteer positions and what it represents to the people who are serving in them. And so with that, staff are recommending that the board approve the appointments of our CAC members, Aaron Gill, Frank Kinsella, Robert Sipple, Allison Falwell, as well as Justin Fields, Daniel Kinney, and Lonnie Wong, respectively, for a new 2-year term that goes through June 30th, 2026. and I'm happy to take questions.
Any questions or comments?
Any response to the two vacancies?
Not yet, yeah.
How long ago did those go out?
It's a good question. The at-large position has been open since I believe January of 2023. And then the District 6 position since our member resigned a couple of months ago.
I'll recommend approval.
Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments from the public on this item? Any CAC members
There are none.
online to don't want to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory here? You're hearing none, we can. Call for the vote.
All right, I'm ready. Director Kenneth,
Yes.
Director Flotter,
Yes.
Director Annabelle,
Yes,
Director Potter,
Yes.
Director Gill.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a quick vote, but I do want to thank those members for their service and acknowledge the hard work of the CAC, and we're grateful they're willing to continue to serve in that role, and so we're very appreciative. Perfect. So that concludes new business, and we have committee meeting summaries. I see the expenditure plan oversight committee. Have you met?
They did, Mr. Chair. So Lee Rauscher, Assistant General Manager, can give you a quick update. I guess it was just this Tuesday. It's been a long week, but just this Tuesday, the committee met. They finalized their oversight report, the annual oversight report, I should say. They will be bringing that report to the board. I think July 25th is when they're requesting to come. And thank you, Caroline, for confirming over there. So they'll deliver their recommendations. Spoiler alert, it's a great report, and be happy to bring that to you in a few weeks.
Perfect. Thank you for that update. Any board questions or public questions on that? No. Seeing none. General Manager report.
So as acting general manager,
As
Mark
arranged.
Manfred, assistant general manager. I do have a couple of updates and then can hand it off if others have updates as well. So a couple to start with on the legislative side. Last week on the 20th of June, the California Supreme Court issued a decision that removed from the November ballot what proponents had referred to as a Taxpayer Protection Act, because according to the court, the initiative would have constituted not just an amendment, but a revision to the state constitution, which can only be proposed by the legislature. So this citizens initiative that you may be familiar with would have required a 2/3 voting threshold on local taxes and fees, including those placed on the ballot through a citizens initiative, effectively hobbling local efforts to raise funds for needed services. So as of last Thursday, that is off of the November ballot. Yesterday, there was a Senate Local Government Committee hearing for AB 2682, our legislation to amend our Enabling Act on a number of items, and that passed. That passed the committee, and so now the next step is it'll go onto the Senate floor. So good progress there. I also wanted to mention that the Greenbelt Alliance Hidden Heroes awardees have been announced. An email was just sent out today announcing those awardees. Among them is Michael Brio, the recently retired Deputy Director for Citywide Planning at the City of San Jose, who was so instrumental in supporting the landmark changes to zoning and land use in Coyote Valley back in 2021. He was nominated by staff from the Open Space Authority. So there'll be a ceremony providing those awards on August 28th in Oakland. And if anyone here is interested in attending, please let me know. We are sponsoring that event. Also wanted to mention that on the evening of August 16th, that'll be the first public open house for the Coyote Valley Master Planning. And that'll be taking place in Morgan Hill at the community center. So that'll be an opportunity for members of the public to come in and understand some of the just basic information about Coyote Valley, as well as provide inputs, not yet on design alternatives, that's still to come, but at least on what their vision for Coyote Valley might be.
What's the date and what?
That's August 16th, and it'll be in the evening. So there'll be more information to come via email on the details of that. Also, the Coyote Valley Conservation Areas Master Planning Existing Conditions Report, it's a mouthful, called Understanding Coyote Valley. That report is nearing completion, and there will be an announcement when that's available to the public as well. Okay. Those are my updates.
Great news on the Senate or the Supreme Court decision.
Thank you.
Other staff.
Briefly, a reminder that the July 11 board meeting has been canceled. Give you a little time off in July, but we will see you again on July 25th. Read through it, Elizabeth.
Good evening, directors. Elizabeth Loretto, Administrative Operations Manager, just with your every meeting recruitment update until we fill all of our vacancies. We have a start date for our communications coordinator. Avery Cruz will be joining us this coming Monday, actually, which is awesome to have that filled. We had successful interviews, interview process and all of that for our external funding coordinator, and are hoping to have a person maybe even in place by the time you all have your next meeting. Hopefully we'll have a really positive update there. Staff accountant is got a great 77 or so applicants and is moving towards final interviews coming on July 9th. So again, hopefully by your next meeting, we'll have a positive update. But we can still use your help on our, currently we have an associate open space planner position that is open and out there, and that will be joining the planning, design and construction team with Lucas Schellhammer. So very focused on the capital improvement, project management. And we have going live on July 9th, finally, our highly anticipated agricultural specialist position. And then also going live in July, a new open space technician 2, focused on supporting volunteer projects in the field. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you. That's quite a few. Any questions from the board? Any other staff? Legal counsel, do you have a report?
Nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great.
It was a great Supreme Court decision.
I thought it was very well.
It's broader than I expected.
Well written. Board member reports. Start with Director Gill.
We have actually July 7. Sikh temples is called a opening ceremony. It should will be 11 AM to 3 PM. That's the peak time. This is actually a religious ceremony, and elected officers, hopefully the Andrea will be there too, around 1 to 2 PM. That is the time set for the elected officers and any community leaders to speak something or say congratulations to that opening committees. Address is 362 South Milpitas Boulevard, Milpitas. So that's the update. Respectfully invite all the members if you guys can come, and staff members as well. So most welcome. I will be there also anyway. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Kenneth.
No report tonight.
Director Flyer.
No report.
Director Animal.
No people.
All right, if you have no report, other than you get to have the gavel, I think, hearing nothing else, we'll adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:27.